Hello. Today I'm going to talk about the fact that I get a lot of people who try to oppose what I'm trying to do. They say that commenting is dead, particularly on blogs, and they've closed their comments to move on to social media. So I'm going to discuss these negative opinions in this particular video. So if you want to find out more, listen on. Hello. I'm Alice Elliott, the founder of the commentingclub.co.uk that shows you how the magic of commenting can increase the popularity of your business, which ultimately leads on to ideal clients. Now, I've got three opposing statements I often hear about commenting on blogs in particular. Number one, why bother commenting on blogs when it's all the actions on social media? And this is actually quite true. There is a lot more action on social media because everybody has moved there from blogs. You know, back in 2014, most popular blog people closed down their comments on their blogs because of spam. Spam became such a terrible nuisance that they couldn't find the time and the resources to keep moderating it all, even though they had quite stringent moderating plugins and apps in process. The spam was so bad, it forced everybody to move their commenting onto social media away from blogging. But a year later, they all came back again because they realized that spam had given up, well, certainly to a lesser extent. And by that time, they found that their community had actually diminished on their blogs, which was a rather sad thing. Anyway, but of course, going to social media isn't a good thing because they found out not only did they lose their community on their blogs, but they were unable to actually have a proper connection between posting a link from their blog onto social media and then getting comments there. But the comments there were not connected with the actual original source. So because people couldn't actually pinpoint the original source, discussions tend to go off at tangents and didn't actually have any proper worthy meaningfulness. They became bitty and disjointed and even went off at tangents. They didn't have any connection with the post and the author and the subject. And if they did, the nature of social media is that people were able to express themselves much more freely in a way that was lack of value and lack of worth. It's just divorced from the blog means that, well, in the sense, going back to commenting on blogs, you have a better connection with the author because you're actually underneath the original post. You can see the connection there. And even though you are generally commenting among strangers, with social media, you're more likely to be with your friends, this is not a bad thing because it allows you to actually say what you really want to say without any repercussion of other people telling you what they think. Other bloggers may do so, but they tend to do it in a much more friendly and forthcoming way. And because you are, in a haven of like-minded thinkers, if you were, on a blog commenting, you are able to then show your true colours of what you really are and what you really know, and know that it could be much more appreciated by people who think the same way. The second negative comment I get is that I never have enough time to comment properly on blogs, and yet you have plenty of time to comment on social media. Interesting. People are probably happy to go over to social media and maybe even spend more time than we can afford, happily dabbling in all sorts of conversations and bits and pieces left, right, and centre, whereas they actually ignore blogs completely. But okay, it's probably less, in their eyes it's less time consuming to comment on social media, but they waste a lot of time. You could use this time more wisely to comment on blogs, because you will then obviously think more carefully about A, which blog you are commenting on, B, the subject you really want to focus on, C, have a proper aim and objective to why you are commenting, and if there's a D, I can't think of it at the right moment. Anyway, it doesn't matter, but you've got the gist anyway. So going on a particular chosen blog that is of a proper subject and is relevant to you and your business, you can actually use the time more wisely. You can use that time more wisely to properly read the post rather than to skim read it, which means you probably understand it when you actually write a comment, which therefore is more meaningful and worthy and more valuable, and provide more information that's applicable to the comment and the post. And then this obviously shows that you totally understand the post rather than sort of guessing half the time, because that's what skim readers do, or they because they're skim reading, they're not really paying attention, and therefore they think, oh, what's in it for me, rather than what's in it for the other people reading the post and the comments, because that's what a proper commenter would do. They think how other people perceive their comment, not what can they get out of it. And so because there is no distractions, they're not going to get sort of diverted or go off on tangents. They're not going to get diverted other people's opinions, because, well, unless of course they read other comments first, but there's nobody in there interrupting them. There's no interruption on a blog. You can actually sit down, have a proper time to have your say, and be totally focused on what you are doing. You're not going to get some stupid person saying, no, that's rubbish, and what do you think you're talking about, and then more trollish behavior, and then it becomes heated and all sorts of places. You don't have that on a blog. You can have sort of rhyme and reason. You can have a very adult attitude towards commenting on a blog, which I think is much better than you get on social media. And then the third opposition I get is that commenting on blogs isn't in real time as moderation gets in the way. Yes, this is very true, as I mentioned earlier. Because of the spam, because spam got so bad, moderation needed to be stepped up. And it was stepped up, which is the reason why spamming is now reduced. And people can feel they can return back to commenting on their blogs. Moderation, there's many different sides of moderation, but usually Akismet is the best one to use, and there's others you can add for extra belts and braces in case your blog gets too popular and the spammers get a little bit too much interested. But even with these guys in place working full tilt, they generally keep the worst of spam at bay, which means that you can then go ahead and write proper stuff and know that it's more likely to get printed and not dumped in the spam queue. And of course, writing a proper comment is less likely to get dumped in the spam queue than one that is like single words or small irrelevant comment, or even one peppered with links back to your own blog. That's not what you do. But generally, if you are able to get really good at commenting on blogs, you learn how to write the kind of comments that are much more likely to be appreciated and therefore published and not gets picked up by the spam eaters, as I like to call them. So commenting on blogs means that you have a much more different approach to commenting. You learn to think carefully, and you don't have to write everything down everything has to be written down in one go, because you are going to need immediate response. The response may take time to come back, and even your comment may take a little time to get published. But which means, therefore, before you submit your comment, you have to make sure it has plenty of worth, plenty of value, and it's totally relevant, and it is worthwhile reading. Because a comment that is worthwhile reading is much more applicable and will make the author of the post much happier, because you've given a proper discussion, focused and relevant, and that's much more, shows your appreciation for all their hard work in writing the post as well. So that's what it is, those three in a nutshell. Number one, why bother commenting on blogs over social media? Number two, I never have enough time to comment properly on blogs. And number three, comment on blogs isn't real time as moderation gets in the way. And if you listen back to this video, you'll see all the reasons why I think their position is unfounded. Thank you for listening. I'm Alice Elliott, the founder of thecommentingclub.co.uk, that shows you how the magic of commenting can increase the popularity of your business, which ultimately leads on to ideal clients. And commenting on LinkedIn is very much like blog commenting, But of course, it has the real time and lack of moderation as others social media that it is. But it does more likely to consist of sensible discussion, proper focus, and worthy points of view. So if you want to know how to use commenting properly on LinkedIn to get more profile views, then check out my 7-day LinkedIn Visibility Challenge that you can get from my blog. It's totally free. And you just go to www.thecommentinclub.co.uk/LinkedIn-visibility-challenge and just sign up and see what you can learn. So if you'd like to know more about what I've been going on about in this video, let's book me a message so we can actually book a proper chat and talk about this on Skype or any other method that you prefer. Thank you for listening to me.